Hi everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel, Movie Screen Recaps. Today we will discuss a fiction film titled Edge of Tomorrow. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. At the start of the film, a news presenter recounts an alien invasion of Earth. An allied human army outfitted with new mechanical suits wins a critical fight at Verdun. Just when everything appears lost, Rita Vrataski, a Special Forces soldier, has been hailed as a hero for her role in the annihilation of a huge number of mimic aliens. Major William Cage of the United States Army is one of the newscasters championing Rita and the war effort. Bill Cage awakens on a helicopter flight to London to meet with General Brigham, the commander of the Western Allies. Bill Cage feels the general wants to help him improve his reputation. The general, on the other hand, orders Bill Cage to accompany the first wave of Allied forces to land in France and to provide on-the-ground media coverage. Despite having no past experience in the subject, Bill Cage attempts to mediate the general. The general first pretends to relent, but subsequently arrests Bill Cage. In the afternoon, Bill Cage awakens on a pile of bags at Heathrow Airport, which has been converted into a military base. A sergeant puts shoes into his hands and calls him a maggot before another sergeant named Farrell takes over. It comes out that General Brigham has given Farrell orders to demote Bill Cage from commander to private. Bill Cage has been assigned to the J Squad, a ragtag group of soldiers. Ford, Griff, Kimmel, Skinner, and Nance are the group's guys. Farrell catches them betting as Bill Cage is introduced to them. Farrell instructs the J Squad to eat the cards they're playing with before directing them to prepare Bill Cage for the operation the next day. Bill Cage is a nervous mess the next day, which is Invasion Day. He is placed in a suit, and the soldiers of J Squad don't even teach him how to use his pistol out of safety mode because they assume he would die shortly. They all laugh on Bill Cage aboard the plane, making him even more scared. However, just as they are ready to land on the French coast, the rear of the airship explodes and the team is forced to land prematurely. Despite the fact that the attempt to recapture Europe was intended to be a preemptive strike, the mimics are well prepared and attack and slaughter the humans. Sergeant Rita also comes on the beach, but is slain within minutes. The members of the J surviving squad are all immediately killed. Bill Cage, still in shock and on the verge of death, reaches for a scimitar mine as a large blue mimic lunges at him, killing both Bill Cage and the blue mimic in a single blast. Alien blood has soaked Bill Cage's body. In the following scene, Bill Cage wakes in a panic on top of the duffel bags. Despite his frantic attempts to explain what is going on and why the mimics are attacking everyone, the same sergeant arrives and labels him a grub. Farrell puts him back to J Squad once more. He awakens for the third time after being killed while attempting to save Rita, but no one believes him. Each time he is deployed, dies, and then wakes up on the duffel bags. With each loop, he gets a little better at saving Rita and the other J Squad members. He survives one loop long enough to save Rita off the ship before it burns down and vaporizes the incoming mimics. Rita wants Bill Cage to look for her when he wakes up so that they can both die before Rita realizes what has happened. Bill Cage reawakens on the duffel bag once more, but this time he joins forces with Sergeant Farrell and the J Squad to give himself some time to find Rita. After numerous unsuccessful efforts to escape, Bill Cage eventually succeeds and finds Rita in a training hangar with training drones. Rita is initially chilly, but after hearing him out, she leads him to a weapon building bay where an acquaintance of hers called Carter works. Expert in mimic biology, Dr. Carter, Rita explains to him that she was also caught in a time loop at Verdun, and that the loop was caused by blood of the large blue alpha mimic. Rita tells him this when they arrive. Carter used to be a researcher, and his belief that all mimics are simply brain representations of one overmind omega extraterrestrial inspired him to create a tool that, when stabbed into an alpha mimic, will reveal the omega's location. Bill Cage attempts to digest everything, but Rita tells him that in order to discover the omega, they must first survive the invasion tomorrow. She then begins to train Bill Cage, murdering him a few times when he is injured so that he wakes up on the duffel bags and has to start all over again. When Bill Cage is gravely hurt in one loop, Rita instructs him to make sure he dies entirely rather than being mistakenly recovered, since once the looper obtains a human blood transfusion, the loop is interrupted, as Rita herself experienced. Bill Cage has an immediate mental picture after dying death in which he discovers that the Omega is concealed somewhere in a dam in Germany. Rita and Carter believe Bill Cage's blue blood infection led him to become an alpha, which would explain the visions. As a result, Bill Cage and Rita focus on surviving the invasion. On the beach, their combat abilities improve greatly, yet despite this, they both continue to die, and Bill Cage continues to loop. He is drawn to Rita and suffers from emotional pain as a result of continuously watching her death. In the following loop, he gives up, decides to escape from the base, and goes to the bar where he thinks he can escape the loop, but it does not work. The mimics end up finding him and kill him, thus sending him back all over again. After countless failures and deaths, Bill Cage and Rita eventually make it ashore. As Rita uncovers a helicopter inside a farmhouse, she realizes Bill Cage is trying to persuade her to remain and confronts him. Bill Cage admits that he has previously circled the house several times, but Rita had died on each occasion. As a result, he chooses to travel alone in order to protect her from dying again. Bill Cage is unable to reply to Rita's question about why it matters what happens to her. Rita, on the other hand, is well aware of Bill Cage's attraction to her. Bill Cage approaches her, but it looks like she is just concerned with the aim. Rita is taken aback and decides to murder them on purpose. In the following loop, Bill Cage decides not to pursue Rita, instead traveling alone to the German dam. Nevertheless, getting to the dam is more difficult than he had planned. He finds nothing since the Omega is not present, and he is attacked by an Alpha who wants to take away his ability to rewind time. But Bill Cage drowns himself on purpose. Bill Cage, Rita, and Carter put the puzzle together in the next loop. They do this in order to comprehend the significance of the visions. They are lucky in that certain things begin to make sense once they are placed together. They realize that the triumph at Verdun was staged by the Omega Overmind to seduce mankind into capturing Europe, where all human forces would be imprisoned and wiped out. Their last remaining hope is the technology Carter created in accordance with his idea, which even led to his termination. Unfortunately, according to Carter, the gadget is still not entirely functional since it is lacking certain necessary components. The good news is that they now fully understand what has to be done. Rita and Bill Cage shift their attention to acquiring the equipment that General Brigham is in possession of. After a long journey and numerous failed attempts, Bill Cage and Vrataski penetrate the Ministry of Defense, where Bill Cage persuades Brigham to give them Carter's prototype gadget for locating the Omega. They eventually obtain the gadget and plunge it into Bill Cage's leg. Bill Cage, on the other hand, has finally discovered the actual location of the Omega. The monster lives under Paris's Louvre Pyramid, and they try to flee the Allied headquarters. Their getaway car crashes, and the airbags knocks Rita unconscious before she can kill Bill Cage. The scene that follows shows Bill Cage waking up in a hospital. He realizes that he is no longer in the loop. After getting a blood transfusion, he lost the ability to loop time endlessly. Rita sets them free, but there are no more loops, and the invasion is coming to an end. The J Squad is waiting for Bill Cage when he returns to the base. They enlist the J Squad to help them destroy the Omega before the invasion begins. When they arrive to the Louvre, the mimics launch an attack on their airship, killing half of the J Squad in the ensuing battle. The next 3 J Squad members, together with Bill Cage and Rita, decide to slide the airship into the museum using the last of the engine power. To give Bill Cage and Rita more time to enter the museum, the other members of the J Squad make selfless sacrifices. When they arrive, Rita instructs Bill Cage to go and explode a grenade belt on the Omega, which is submerged underwater at the bottom of the Louvre, while she diverts the patrolling Alpha mimic. Rita kisses Bill Cage and thanks him for bringing her thus far before enticing away an Alpha that was in their way and the submerged Omega. After a brief pursuit, the Alpha kidnaps Rita and murders her as Bill Cage swims beneath the surface to reach the Omega. Bill Cage is stabbed by the Alpha, who dives after him. Bill Cage maintains his composure, removes all of the grenade pins, and then throws the belt into the Omega. All of the mimics perish along with the Omega as it bursts and perishes. Dr. Carter explains the mimic's ability to Cage by saying that when an Alpha dies, the Omega resets it to the previous day. The Alpha isn't resetting itself, and it doesn't appear to have any particular skills without the Omega's leadership. When Bill Cage arrives to the base, he discovers that all members of the J Squad are still alive and well. Bill Cage attempts to see Rita, but she doesn't recognize him and greets him with the same harshness she shows the first time they met in the loop. "Yes, what do you want?" she responds, with a smile from Bill Cage. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this.